Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host for the day, Alex Lima, filling in for Brandon Rhymes. You know me as BlackBelt_fitness on the Instagram, right? Brandon and Lindsay, as you know, are the owners of the Platinum MVP team at KW, the best real estate company, I would say, in all of Florida, without a doubt. Not just because they're my friends and I work with them, but I've seen the deals that they put through, and they're constantly smashing it. I believe Brandon alone last year, himself, not even his team, handled over like 50 transactions and stuff like that. So that's insane to have that kind of hustle and work ethic when really he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to hustle like that, and he still does. So it speaks miles for him and Lindsay, the amount of work they're willing to put in. Piggybacking on that, we got a couple of hot properties from the MVP team that we would like to highlight right now. One of them being, let's see what we got here. We have nice home for sale here, 6504 South Linda Street in Tampa in wonderful Hillsborough County, just under 2,000 square feet. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's on over a quarter acre of land, which is nice. Updated kitchen and bath. Motivated seller. They're willing to put at least $10K down towards the closing costs, or they'll buy down the rate for you. So motivated seller. It's a nice home sitting on some good property. You can check this one out on the platinummvpteam.kw.com, or you can always call 813-917-1894. Another property we'd like to point out right now is 2817 Gulf City Road. This is a prime waterfront development that's for sale. This one is also in Hillsborough County. It's just it's in Ruskin. It's nearly 23 acres, so that's a lot of property, a lot of land. You get a great return of investment opportunity here because it can be divided into multiple lots. It's a motivated seller. You got deep water access directly to the Gulf, so I mean you can set up, you can get boats coming in and out of there. And just have a good time right there, build a nice little property, and then divide it up and sell a couple of those other ones off. So definitely check that one out at platinummvpteam.kw.com or call 813-917-1894. So in the house, we have my man, Brent Shiver. He is our pest control expert, and he's a pretty cool dude. Found out we have a little bit of jiu-jitsu in common. I got to have him come through and train at some point so we can get some work in. But what's up, my man? How you doing?
I'm doing all right, I don't know if I'm ready for you. It's been a minute since I've been on the mat, but I'm down.
Man, no, it's not like that, man. I just love teaching, doing it, and drilling, and
it's so much fun.
It is, man. There's nothing like it. It's a full body experience.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that there's nothing like it when it comes to pest control. I can't imagine many other industries that are similar to being into pest control. So I know we've heard a little bit of the story before, but I've heard it. But for any listener that doesn't know who you are, if you can kind of just give the breakdown again of who you are and what the company's about.
Yeah, for sure. I never expected I would be in this industry. And we were just talking about student loan debt. I had a lot of student loan debt. I graduated from Florida. When I stumbled into the pest control industry, I was just going to pay my bills until I found what I wanted to do when I grew up, so to speak. I was already almost 30 years old, but still, you get the point. And I'm still here. 13 years later, I'm still doing it.
Now, speaking of, once again, what was it you originally went to school for? Like when
it was just business administration.
Just overall business administration.
Yeah, my bachelor's and my master's degree both in business administration. So it can help anywhere.
Sure.
And really, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just making my way through life, and until I settled in here, and it's just a lot of fun. It's every day's interesting, every day's fun. And now, being a business owner, I get the opportunity to help other people in their lives in the spot where I was 13 years ago. And that part's a lot of fun, too.
Yeah, man. So I imagine it's similar. I don't know if you know a little bit about my backstory, but I was a fire medic for over 15 years. So I imagine it's similar to being a paramedic. Like, yeah, you run maybe the same call throughout the day. Someone's got back pain or it's a heart attack or something like that, but no call is exactly the same.
Right.
You show up, and it's whatever. It's bird or bats or rats or whatever it may be, and maybe it's 10 bird calls for the day that you have to go to. But the house is different. The situation is different. So it does keep it from being, monotonous. Like it does change it up a little bit. So I imagine that's an interesting aspect of it as well.
It really is, and that was probably the most fun thing. At the time, actually, oddly enough, when I went to training all 13 years ago, I came home 3 weeks later. The day I came home, my wife told me she was pregnant with our first child.
Oh, wow.
So I'm starting a new job in 2008 when the economy's a wreck, and have a pregnant wife at home in a house that we had just bought less than a year ago.
Oh, man.
And it was a wild ride.
Yeah.
But it's hard to keep up with that kind of energy in the work environment.
Yeah.
Because I've got all this energy going on outside.
Yeah.
And if I'm sitting in an office all day, you just can't do anything with that. So being out on the road, meeting new people,
it's more for you,
seeing new houses, everything. If you enjoy the outdoors and you enjoy living life to the fullest, I highly recommend you check this industry out. It was much different than I ever expected it to be.
Yeah, and pressure makes diamonds. I'm a firm believer in that. So like, everything that you had going on in your life, fresh out of the house payment, and then your wife's pregnant, you just finished the school, starting a new career and chapter in your life. You could probably say that helped propel you too to jump towards being like where you're at today. Because like, I got to grind, man. I got to do this for my family.
That's it. Yeah, I had to make it.
Yeah, I love that, man. So let's get into real quick. We were talking about. We had some. We said we're still in bat season. Like, what is bat season, and how long is that, and what typically, like, what do you do about it? What do you recommend?
So I'll talk about that backwards. When it's not bat season.
All right.
So from April 15th to August 14th, bats are closed in terms of the state of Florida. We cannot take bats. If you have bats inside your house, we can't take them out during that time period. Now, if they're in the living space, we can go get them. We just have to take them right outside and let them go.
And why is that? That's just laws protecting, like kind of like how there's like no deer hunting season, or you can't cut down an oak tree, like that kind of.
Stuff. And all of the reasons for those are usually the same. It's all about the reproductive cycle and helping the species to thrive and move forward. Bats suffer from a lot of diseases themselves, so they're a little bit at risk. White nose syndrome being the big one.
Wow.
So that time period is their maternity season. So that's the state saying you're going to let them live in your attic if they're in there until those babies, those pups, are able to fly. And then you can kick them out. But as long as they're small enough that they can't fly, they're not going to let us. Because effectively, we would close them in, and they'd be dead.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah.
So it's just all about protecting the species and doing what's best for them.
But I also can't imagine the homeowners too happy when they get that call 100%. And it's like, hey, man, we can't. I mean, so what are like some like recommendations for that? I mean, just kind of get look. We'll get them out of your actual living space, but this is the deal. What can they do in the meantime?
Well, the first thing is call us now.
Become fans of bats.
Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta enjoy living with them to some degree.
Yeah.
But call us now. If you have any doubt, call us now. Sure. Let us check it out. We get them out now. If you wait until April 15th, there's nothing we can do for you as far as the bats that are living there. We can take some steps to try to prevent it from spreading on your house, maybe, depending on the setup.
Yeah.
But by and large, you're going to live with them for at least 4 months at that point.
So on average, like you said they have the pups. Like how big do they breed? Like what kind of, what they call it, a litter? Like what kind of litter does like a typical like bat situation? What do they like produce? Like are we looking at like 10 extra bats in your house, or like?
Well, no, it depends on how big the colony is already.
Oh, okay.
You're usually going to get one pup per mother.
Oh, okay. So they one at a time type deal.
But you also can fit 100 bats in a 1 foot by 1 foot square.
Jeez.
So multiply that times all the roof decking you have in your attic.
Yeah.
You potentially have a big.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily. I've seen them where it's almost hard to see roof decking, but that's very rare. Usually it's just a small amount.
That's an extreme case,
but,
right?
Yeah, but I mean, if you're 50% females and they happen to all get pregnant, then you're expanding by 50%. So
that's it.
You have that to look forward to.
Your home just became the uprise for the bat population.
And they all come back to the same place every year.
Yeah.
So if they're there this year and you don't do something about it, next year they're coming back to breed in your attic again. And it gets bigger and bigger. And squirrels do the same thing. There's many species that do the same thing.
Yeah. Now squirrels I know are very like destructive. Are bats are they? Is it similar? Like they're chewing on everything. They're kind of like,
bats are not rodents. And people call them flying rats or flying mice or whatever.
Misnomer.
They're not actually.
Yeah.
They're not rodents at all. So they don't gnaw like rodents do.
Yeah.
Now the only thing I've ever seen them tear up is like expansion foam, where people have that for their insulation, or they may use it to try to keep the bats out in the first place. They'll actually gnaw through that stuff. But otherwise, they don't do damage to wires or AC ducts or stuff like that like squirrels do.
Yeah. Wow, man. So you said that's April. You said April 15th till usually when?
August 14th.
August 14th is when you can begin the process of clearing them out. And then how do you typically go about clearing them out? Is it similar to like how we set up traps to get? Well, you don't take them out like we do like an old like rat trap or mouse trap or something like that.
No, we don't
harm
harm them.
Like a cage to kind of get them to bait them to come in and then let them be. Or?
Not even that. We just set up a one-way door. So they're depending on the situation, like we were talking about earlier. Everything is different. The houses are different, and the way we solve the problems, even though it's technically the same, is very different.
Depends on the scenario.
Right. So we may build something custom for that house so they can get out, can't get back in. There may be something we can pre-order, but it's all about setting up a one-way door, closing all the other possible entries up, and then you have to give them at least 4 days. That's a state law.
Yeah.
4 days over 50 degrees, which we don't get a lot of under 50 degrees. Anyway.
Right. So we're usually good to go on that.
Yeah. So 4 days over 50 degrees, and then we can pull that down, close it up, and it's a done deal.
Yeah, and I imagine at that point too, they want out too. They want to get out. So giving them that one-way door, they're starting to look for more food sources and things like that.
Yeah, depending on where you are in the cycle, they may be looking to move on anyway. They like that really, really warm environment to breed in, and once that is not so warm, they're ready to kind of move on regardless. So I've done several bat jobs where we didn't even have to put up the one-way door.
Yeah,
you could just close it up because they've already gone. Oh. But then you're left with guano in your attic.
Yeah.
So all that stuff you want cleaned up and out of there. Get rid of those smells. Get rid of the bacteria, get rid of all the nastiness. For sure.
Real quick, some good ways that people can reach you as well if they want to get in touch with you, for your services.
Yeah. We got wildremoval.com is our website. You can reach us there. 844-WILD-OUT. We actually just acquired also 813-WILD-OUT. So we have easy to remember phone numbers that tie right into the company name.
Nice, man. Good stuff. We're going to be taking a break here soon, but before we get to the break and stuff, we also, one thing that I love every time you come on the show, you talk about not being embarrassed, like when you have these scenarios and calls, and I'm a testament to that. Now, I wish I would have known you first. I would have called you guys first. I actually went through a couple companies, and it was kind of hard to find somebody that I trusted with the work. But I consider myself a relatively clean person. Your house does not have to be this like dirty house in order for you to have these infestations and these problems. One thing I think that people don't take into consideration is just because your house is clean doesn't mean your neighbor is all good. Right. And then when a couple of the guys, when they got on my roof, they looked over it. They're like, I'm pretty sure it's coming from your neighbor's house. You got the palm fruits first off. Mine was rats, and then they wanted to feed on the palm fruits, and then there was scavenging from somewhere. So what happens is they would go and hit the house next door. They were getting everything they wanted for the day, and they would come to the clean crib to go mess right. and make and get cozy. Yep. kind of like we go to do a dirty job and then come to the clean house after. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of that, and I love that you always say that. Like, don't be embarrassed. Reach out. Let's handle this before it becomes a bigger problem.
That's right.
Because like in my scenario, it was two, and I didn't do an anatomy check on them, but I'm assuming it was male and female, and those two could have easily turned into 200 at some point.
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, man. Again, I love that you guys are about that, and you're very personable, and you're always like, hey, don't be embarrassed. Just call us. We'll come out and take a look, and if we can help you, just if it's a bat and it's April 15th. You're going to have to wait a little bit. You're going to have to wait a little bit. Start watching Batman, stuff like that. Make peace with them for a while. Get used to them and acclimate. Yeah, good stuff. We're going to take a quick break, man. And then when we come back, we're going to have Shane Socash. He's our precious metal expert. We're going to call him up on the phone. And don't forget, reach out to Brent Shiver for all your pest control needs. Wilding out.
Hey, everybody. It's the Captain, Matt Bruce, and you're listening to my buddy, Brandon Rhymes, a consumer quarterback. Sell, Brandon, sell.